If you're serious about building a life that works for you every single day, then this message is for you. It's easy to talk about dreams and plans, but living those dreams takes more than words. It takes clear choices, daily actions, and a mindset that treats every moment as real and important. Imagine waking up each day knowing exactly how to spend your time, who to surround yourself with, and what habits to build that actually push you forward. This video will show you how to stop drifting through life and start designing it with purpose and clarity. What you do right now shapes your tomorrow, and the ideas here will help you live a life you can be proud of every single day. Stay with me and discover how to take control and create the future you want to live. Let's get started. Number 1, create a life plan that fits your real values. Before anything in your life truly changes, you need to sit down and ask yourself one honest question. What really matters to you? Not what looks good to others, not what impresses the crowd, not what you've been told to want, but what actually feels right deep down. Because here's the truth. You are the one who has to live this life. And if your plan doesn't match your values, you're going to feel it every day. In your body, in your thoughts, in your mood. Every single day will feel off, and you might not even know why. That's because your actions are out of sync with what matters to you. People make plans all the time. Career plans, fitness plans, financial plans. But most people are building those plans on expectations they never chose. They're chasing things they don't even want. That's why the success doesn't satisfy them. That's why even when they achieve a goal, it feels empty. It doesn't last. And it's not because they're broken. It's because the plan was never built for them in the first place. It was borrowed, copied, handed down. You have to start by asking what you truly believe is important. Not just in theory, but in reality. Do you value peace, or do you keep choosing chaos? Do you value growth, or are you clinging to comfort? Do you value relationships, or are you too distracted to be present? The choices you make will answer that better than your words ever could. If your daily actions don't line up with your core values, conflict inside of you. And the longer that conflict continues, the heavier life feels. So the first step is to get honest. Sit down without your phone. No noise, no outside voices, and write out what matters to you. If you say freedom matters, what does that mean to you in practical terms? Is it time freedom? Financial freedom? Freedom from stress? Be specific, don't just write, I want happiness. Write what happiness actually looks like in your world. Is it having time with your kids? Is it working on your craft every day? Is it being healthy and energetic? You need to define it clearly, or your life plan will be a guess. You can't build anything meaningful from guesses. You need clarity. You need to know what matters, so your actions can finally support it. That's how people gain peace. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters most. And the beautiful part is, once your plan reflects your real values, you stop fighting yourself. You stop waking up in resistance. You stop dreading the next thing. Instead, your actions start making sense to your heart. You feel aligned. That alignment gives you strength you didn't even know was available to you. Now, this doesn't mean life becomes easy. Life will always come with challenge. But when the challenge serves your values, you can handle it. You grow from it. It doesn't drain you, the same way doing meaningless things does. When the effort has a purpose, you can keep showing up. That's why the foundation of your life plan must be built on your values. Values don't change with trends. They're not based on applause. They are the parts of you that remain steady, even when the world gets loud. But too many people don't take the time to do this. They just drift. They follow what's popular. They chase validation. They listen to voices that have nothing to do with their truth. And over time, that kind of living turns into regret. Not because they didn't try, but because they never chose for themselves. You don't want to reach the end of your life and realize you built a world that never felt like yours. You have to stop and ask, what kind of person do I want to be? What kind of relationships do I want to have? What kind of impact do I want to make? What do I want my day-to-day experience to actually feel like? Your answers to those questions will show you your real values. And then from those values you build the plan. You decide what to do, where to go to bring into your life, and what to walk away from. Every choice you make has to be filtered through that lens. If it matches your values, it belongs in your life. If it doesn't matter how shiny or tempting it looks. It will cost you. This takes discipline, because living by your values won't always be the fastest way. It won't always be the most comfortable, but it will be the most meaningful. It will be the most sustainable. When your plan fits your real values, you don't have to fake energy. You don't have to force motivation. It comes naturally, because your life finally makes sense to you. That's what so many people are craving. Not more money, not more attention, but a life that feels like their own. That's what design means. You don't just let things happen to you. You shape your world based on what you believe matters. This also means you might have to unlearn a few things, have to let go of someone else's approval. You might have to step away from paths you've been on for years. You might have to admit that some things you thought were important no longer are. That's not failure. That's progress. That's what self-respect looks like. You can't keep carrying beliefs, goals that no longer fit who you are. Your values will evolve, and your plan needs to evolve with them. If you ignore that, you end up building a life that feels like a trap. Real freedom comes from alignment, from clarity, from knowing who you are, and making choices that match that truth. Every goal set, every habit you build, every risk you take, it should come from your values. Not pressure, not fear, not comparison. You are allowed to choose what matters to you, even if no one around you understands it. And once you create a plan based on that, your life becomes something worth waking up to. People don't fail because they don't work hard. They fail because they work hard on the wrong things. Things that don't matter to them. Things that drain them. Things that take, but never give. You can change that. Starting today, you can stop wasting time on what doesn't match your heart. You can stop saying yes when you mean no. You can stop putting your energy into paths that leave you empty. But it starts with clarity. Not goals first, values first. Because when your values are strong, your goals have direction. When your values are clear, your actions have purpose. And when your life plan fits real values, you don't need to be pushed anymore. You are pulled by something that lives inside of you. Something that doesn't fade when the noise gets loud. Something that keeps you steady through storms. That's how you build something real. That's how you create a life that actually feels like your own. Number 2, build daily habits that support your long-term future. Everything in your life is a result of the small actions you choose each day. If you want to know where someone is heading, don't ask about their dreams. Watch what they do in a single day. Because the truth is, your future is not built in big moments. It's shaped in the quiet hours, in the decisions that feel small, in what you do when no one is watching. If your habits today don't reflect the direction you want to go, it doesn't matter how clear your vision is. Nothing changes until your daily behavior lines up with the future you say you want. Most people have good intentions, but intentions don't build results. Action does. Consistent action. Repeated action. The kind of action that becomes automatic because you've done it enough times. If your habits are strong, your progress becomes predictable. You don't have to rely on motivation when your routine takes care of the work. It becomes a rhythm, and that rhythm builds momentum. One step feeds the next. One discipline strengthens another. But it all begins with the small things you repeat, without excuse. If you say you want financial stability, what do your daily money decisions look like? If you say you want strong health, What are you eating each day? How often are you moving your body? If you say you want to learn a skill, how much time are you actually practicing? You can't want something and ignore the habits required to earn it. Wanting is not enough. You have to be willing to structure your life in a way that reflects your priorities. And that structure comes from daily habits. The best habits are not about doing everything perfectly. They're about doing the right things consistently. That means even when you don't feel like it, even when the results are slow, even when no one claps for you, you still show up, because you're not just living for today. You're investing in a version of yourself that doesn't exist yet, but will if you keep showing up. That's the power of habit. It's not glamorous, but it's dependable. And in a world full of noise and distraction, dependability is rare and valuable. You have to train yourself to act on your future, not your feelings. Your feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you to rest when you need to move. They'll tell you it's fine to delay, when what you need is discipline. Habits are how you stay honest with your future. They remove the question. They turn effort into expectation. You don't wonder if you're going to do it. You just do it because it's part of who you are now. To build habits that last, you have to keep it simple. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick the area that matters most and begin there. Keep the action small, but consistent. If you want to write a page a day. If you want to get in shape, commit to 20 minutes of movement. If you want to grow your income, study something new every night. The small steps may not feel like much in the beginning, but they compound. Over weeks and months, they create a foundation that holds up under pressure. And you will face pressure. That's when your habits matter most. When life gets unpredictable, your routine can give you stability. You fall back on your discipline, not your mood. That's what separates the people who last from the people who fade. They have built a system that supports them through difficulty. Not because they're stronger or smarter, but because they've trained for it. Their habits are not based on comfort. They're based on commitment. Be honest about the habits that are wasting your time. Not everything that feels good helps you grow. Scrolling, complaining, staying up too late, putting things off. Those are habits too. And they shape your future just as much as the good one. Every time you repeat them, you teach yourself what matters. You show your brain what to expect, and the brain adapts quickly. If you keep feeding it easy choices, it will stop craving effort. But if you feed it discipline, it will start to expect progress. Surrounding yourself with structure helps habits stick. Use your environment to guide your behavior. Make the good habits easier to do, and the bad ones harder. Set your workout clothes out the night before. Leave your phone in another room when you're working. Remove distractions before they can steal your attention. Discipline isn't about force. It's about making the right choice easier to reach. And once you build momentum, the resistance fades. What felt hard in the beginning becomes automatic. Every habit you build either supports your future or delays it. That's the truth. There's no such thing as neutral behavior. What you choose today either prepares you or weakens you. If you want a better future, you need to earn it in the present. And that means making daily decisions that reflect where you want to be 5 or 10 years from now. Not just what feels good for the next hour. Discipline is the bridge between your current life and the life you say you want. And here's the part most people miss. The habits you build don't just shape your results. They shape your identity. Every day you follow through, you're proving something to yourself. You're showing yourself that you can be trusted, that your word means something, that when you say you'll do something, you actually do it. And that belief changes you. It gives you strength you can't get from motivation alone. You start to carry yourself differently. You walk into rooms with quiet confidence, because you know how hard you work when no one is looking. That kind of self-respect is rare, and it doesn't come from achievement. It comes from consistency. That's what habits do. They give you back control. They put you in the driver's seat of your life. You stop reacting to circumstances and start creating outcomes. You stop depending on luck and start depending on your own effort. And that effort, repeated over time, becomes your advantage. Not in one day, not in one week, but over months and years. It adds up. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to do it today. Then do it again tomorrow. Build a streak. Protect that streak. Let the progress build quietly. You don't need anyone else to see it yet. It's not about being noticed. It's about being ready. Because your future will not reward what you intended to do. It will reward what you consistently chose to do. Even when it was hard. Even when it was quiet. Even when no one else believed in it. But you. Number 3. Make decisions you are proud to live with. Every choice you make becomes part of the story you carry with you. You don't get to erase decisions once they're made. They follow you. They affect your path. They shape how you see yourself. You can't run from the consequences of your own choices. That's why the quality of your future depends so much on the quality of your decisions today. Not just smart fixins. Not just safe ones. But decisions you're proud to live with. Decisions you can stand behind when no one's clapping and when no one's asking. People often make choices based on what's popular in the moment or what looks impressive to others. But pride doesn't come from public approval. It comes from knowing you acted with honesty. It comes from staying true to your principles, even when shortcuts are easier. It's easy to take the option that brings fast results. It's harder to choose what aligns with your standards. But over time, the harder choice becomes the better life. Every moment you act with integrity adds strength to your character. That kind of strength can't be faked. You feel it every time you look in the mirror. Living with regret is one of the heaviest weights a person can carry. And that weight comes from knowing you could have done better, but chose not to. That feeling doesn't go away quickly. It stays with you. It shows up in your thoughts. It holds you back. To avoid that pain, you have to build the discipline to slow down and ask real questions before making a decision. Is this choice in line with who I want to be? Am I going to respect myself for this tomorrow? Would I make this decision if nobody else ever found out about it? That's how you check for alignment. You don't have to be perfect. No one is. But you can be intentional. You can stop operating on autopilot. You can learn to pause before acting and consider the future impact of your decisions. Not every mistake can be avoided, but many can be prevented by thinking longer than the next hour. It takes maturity to look past short-term benefits and ask whether something will still make sense in 5 years. The right decision often takes longer. It often comes with more resistance. But when the storm passes, you'll be thankful you stood firm. You're not just making choices for today. You're building a foundation for every year that follows. If you compromise your values just to feel good now, you weaken that foundation. But if you stay disciplined and patient, you make decisions that hold up under pressure. They don't crack when life gets hard. They support you when things fall apart around you. That kind of stability can't be borrowed. It's earned through consistency. Too many people make decisions based on fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. But fear-driven decisions don't lead to peace. They usually lead to disappointment and confusion. You second-guess yourself. You feel unsettled. And you wonder why things don't feel right, even when they look okay on the outside. That's the cost of ignoring your deeper values. You can only hide from yourself for so long. Eventually, your choices catch up with your identity. When you start building a life that reflects your real standards, the pressure fades. You stop performing for others. You stop chasing temporary wins. You start gaining the respect of the only person who really matters in the end. Yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with what you chose. Not your friends. Not your boss. Not the people on social media. Just you. That's why you need a strong filter. You need to know what you stand for before life forces you to decide. If you wait until pressure shows up, it's easy to bend. But if you've already decided what's right and what's wrong for you, the decision becomes clear, no matter the situation. That's how people become unshakable. Not because they're never tempted, but because they've already chosen the kind of person they will be in advance. Pride comes from discipline. It comes from not betraying yourself when things get difficult. It comes from holding the line when it would be easier to let go. And yes, it will cost you sometimes. You may miss out on quick rewards. You might stand alone more than once. But what you gain in self-respect will carry you further than any shortcut ever could. When you choose the right thing, even when it hurts, you're building strength that can't be taken from you. No one's going to make the right decision every time. You will mess up. But there's a big difference between a mistake and a pattern. A mistake can be corrected. A pattern becomes your life. If you find yourself always choosing what's easy over what's right, you're not going to feel proud of that life. But if you build a track record of thoughtful decisions that match your core values, you create a life you don't have to explain or escape from. When you make a decision, ask yourself who you're becoming in the process. Every action moves you closer to someone. Are you becoming more honest, more focused, more dependable? Or are you becoming reactive, careless, inconsistent? These things don't happen all at once. They happen through your choices. That's how identity forms. Your behavior writes your future. And the more you align with what you believe, the more confident you become in your own skin. Not every decision is loud. Some are quiet and personal. Choosing to walk away from a toxic relationship. Choosing to stay disciplined when no one else is. Choosing to tell the truth when lying is easier. These moments define you. They shape your future in ways others may never see. But you will feel it. You will know it. You will carry the reward of those moments, quietly in your character. A proud life is not about showing off success. It's about knowing you didn't cheat your way there. It's about knowing you showed up with honesty. That you kept your word. That you didn't take advantage of others. That you stood for something. That's the kind of pride that lasts. That's the kind of pride that stays strong even in failure. Because you know you didn't take shortcuts. You faced the hard choice and did what was right for you. You won't always know what the perfect decision is, but you can know what the honest one is. You can know what the respectful one is. You can know what the thoughtful one is. And if you make those decisions consistently, you won't need to be perfect to build a strong life. You just need to be clear about what kind of person you want to be and choose accordingly, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. That's where your strength is built. And that's where you earn a life you don't want to run from. Number 4, choose your goals based on what truly matters. Before you chase a goal, you have to stop and ask yourself why it matters to you. Too many people spend years chasing something only to reach it and feel nothing. Not because they didn't try hard, not because they lacked talent, but because the goal never came from a real place. It came from outside pressure. It came from comparison. It came from the desire to prove something. If your goals are not rooted in what actually matters to you, they won't fulfill you when you get there. They'll drain you on the way, and they'll leave you confused once you arrive. You can't afford to build your life around goals that aren't connected to your core values. It doesn't matter how impressive a goal looks. If it doesn't line up with your priorities, you are the one who will have to carry the weight of your choices. That means every goal must come from within, not from what your friends are doing, not from what your parents expect, not from what the world says you should want. You need to look inside and identify what brings meaning to your life. When you're clear about what matters, you stop wasting time. You stop saying yes to distractions. You stop chasing empty reward. You begin to focus your time, your thoughts, and your energy on something that makes sense to your heart. That's the kind of goal that lasts. That's the kind of goal that keeps you grounded, even when it gets difficult. Because it isn't just a number. It isn't just a title. It's part of your purpose. Some people pick goals because they sound ambitious. They want big numbers, fancy outcomes, loud applause. But underneath that is a shallow reason. That kind of motivation fades quickly. As soon as the novelty wears off, they feel lost again. That's what happens when your goals are built on noise instead of meaning. If your goals don't bring peace along the journey, you're building in the wrong direction. You have to choose goals that are worth sacrificing for. Goals that hold up in private when no one is watching. Goals that make sense even if they take years. If you would only pursue a goal because it brings fast recognition, then it's not the right goal. The right goal is one that matches your deeper values. It respects your time, honors your effort, and gives something back to your life. It doesn't just ask for more work. It brings alignment. Sit with yourself and ask what you're actually trying to build. What are you trying to feel? What are you trying to experience? What are you trying to contribute? These are the questions that shape real goals. If your goal is to earn more money, ask what that money is meant to do. If your goal is to get stronger, ask why strength matters to you. Dig past the surface until you uncover a reason that speaks to who you are, not just who you think you should be. When you set goals based on what truly matters, you unlock a new level of focus. You don't get distracted as easily. You don't need constant reminders. You don't keep jumping from one thing to another. You know what you're working toward, and you know why it's important. That kind of clarity brings stability. It helps you make better choices in the moment, because the bigger picture is always in view. Real goals simplify your life. They remove confusion. They give your days a structure. You wake up and you know what matters. You don't waste time trying to impress people who don't even know what you value. You stop living on the surface and start building something that means something to you personally. And that personal connection is what gives you endurance. You're going to face challenges no matter what goal you choose. But if the goal is meaningful, you won't quit when it gets hard. You'll push through because you care. If the goal is shallow, you'll give up as soon as the excitement fades. That's the difference between people who last and people who stop halfway. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's depth of purpose. Goals based on what matters don't have to be huge. They just have to be real. They have to belong to you. If something is important to you, it doesn't matter if it's small to someone else. You're not building their life. You're building your own. You're allowed to choose goals that make sense to your life, even if nobody claps when you talk about them. The results aren't for them. They're for you. Don't wait for permission to pursue what's right for you. Don't wait until the timing is perfect or the path is clear. Get honest about what truly matters, and let that honesty guide the goals you choose. If it matters to you, it's worth your time. If it strengthens your character, it deserves your effort. If it brings peace to your life, it's the right direction. Sometimes the hardest part is unlearning what you thought mattered. Maybe you were chasing a title because it made you feel important. Maybe you were pushing for numbers that made you feel worthy. But if those goals are no longer meaningful, you are allowed to change them. You are allowed to stop pursuing something that no longer fits the person you've become. Changing your goal doesn't mean you failed. It means you grew. Your goals should grow with you. As your values evolve, your direction will shift. Don't hold on to a goal out of pride. Let it go if it no longer reflects your truth. That's how you stay aligned. That's how you keep moving forward without losing yourself in the process. Every season of your life may require a new kind of focus. Be willing to adapt. The longer you ignore what really matters to you, the harder it becomes to find satisfaction. You might hit a target and still feel empty. That emptiness is your signal. It means you were building for the wrong reasons. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to learn from. It's your chance to stop and ask again what really matters to you now. And once you answer that honestly, your new goals will feel different. They will feel like they belong to you. Number 5. Cut out anything that weakens your personal growth. You can't grow while you keep feeding the things that hold you back. Progress doesn't come from doing more. It often comes from removing what no longer serves your purpose. When something slows you down, drains your energy, clouds your thinking, or makes you question your worth, it doesn't belong in your life. If you keep tolerating what weakens you, Don't be surprised when your strength fades. You cannot build a strong life while carrying habits, people, or routines that constantly tear you down from the inside. Look at your daily life with honest eyes. Pay attention to what you do when no one is watching. What are you consuming? What are you allowing in your environment? Who do you surround yourself with? How do you use your time? These things might seem small, but they shape your direction. You can't expect to grow if your surroundings are constantly pulling you away from what matters. Personal growth needs space, and you create that space by removing what wastes your attention. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer distractions. You need less noise. You need to stop entertaining what you know is making you weaker. And most of the time, you already know, deep down, you feel it. You just haven't taken action on it. You've accepted it. You've told yourself it's not a big deal. But the truth is, it's costing you. Every day. Little by little. Every excuse. Every delay. Every repeated mistake. It's stacking up. You are either reinforcing your growth or feeding your decline. There's a price to everything you keep in your life. Time, energy, focus. These are limited resources. You don't get more just because you want them. You have to protect what you already have. That means saying no to anything that leads you off track. And it won't always be obvious. Sometimes what weakens you looks harmless. It looks fun. It looks comforting. But comfort isn't always your friend. What feels good in the moment might be breaking down your long-term strength. Not every fun thing helps you grow. Not every relationship is worth keeping. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Growth demands choices. You can't keep holding on to everything and expect to rise. You've got to let go of what doesn't align with who you're trying to become. If something pulls you further from your values, it's not neutral. It's negative, even if it's familiar. Even if you've had it for years. Longevity doesn't make something healthy. Attachment doesn't make something right. You have to learn how to separate emotion from direction. Just because you feel connected to something doesn't mean it belongs in your future. Take inventory of the influences in your life. Look at your habits. Look at your environment. Look at your relationship. Ask one simple question. Does this help me grow? Or does this weaken me over time? If the answer leans toward weakness, it's time to be honest. Growth doesn't happen by accident. You don't stumble into it. You choose it. And choosing it means cutting ties with whatever lowers your standard. Sometimes that means walking away from people. People who constantly doubt you. People who gossip. People who never challenge themselves. And don't want you to grow either. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to create drama. But you do have to create. Because if you spend too much time in environments that don't encourage strength, you start to shrink. Not because you want to, but because it becomes your new normal. Cutting out what weakens you doesn't make you selfish. It makes you serious. If your mind is always scattered, simplify. If your energy is always low, rest with purpose. If your schedule is always full, look at where you're spending your hours. Start making decisions that support clarity instead of chaos. Protect your mornings. Guard your evenings. Pay attention to how you feel after conversation. If something keeps leaving you drained, that's your signal. Growth requires discipline. You can't keep saying yes out of guilt. You can't keep tolerating what steals your peace. You can't keep hoping things will change on their own. It doesn't work like that. The life you want isn't going to build itself. You've got to do the work. And sometimes that work looks like cutting the rope that's been holding you in place. That rope could be a belief. It could be a habit. It could be a person. You won't know until you face it head on. There are things you're doing every day that are either feeding your progress or feeding your delay. The food you eat, the media you watch, the conversations you allow, the sleep you get, the thoughts you entertain. The more you clean up what no longer fits, the more room you create for the life you actually want. It's not just about adding more positive. It's about removing the negative that hides in plain sight. You may be used to certain things, but comfort doesn't equal benefit. Familiar doesn't mean good. Just because something feels normal doesn't mean it's helping you grow. If you're always tired, always frustrated, Always distracted. That's feedback. Your environment is speaking to you. Your body is trying to tell you something. Your mind is reflecting the results of your lifestyle. You can't ignore it and expect progress. Make a decision to clear out what's unnecessary. Make your priorities visible. Make your standards non-negotiable. Stop allowing what doesn't meet your standards to linger in your life. Your time is too important. Your goals are too real. Your growth is too valuable. You've got to act like it matters. And the way you act like it matters is by eliminating everything that doesn't push you forward. Your success is not just about what you do. It's also about what you remove. If you want focus, remove distractions. If you want strength, remove weakness. If you want peace, remove conflict. If you want freedom, remove what traps your energy. Personal growth isn't always about doing more. It's about removing the things that pull you away from your best self. You get stronger when you clear the path. You get faster when you lighten the load. You become better when you stop settling for what keeps you average. Number 6. Surround yourself with people who raise your standards. The people around you are shaping your thoughts, your actions, and your future. Whether you realize it or not, you cannot stay sharp if you're surrounded by people who are comfortable being dull. You cannot keep growing if you're constantly surrounded by those who settle for less. Who you choose to be around is not just a social decision. It's a personal development decision. Every conversation you have, every value you absorb, every standard you allow, those things come from the company you keep. If your environment lacks drive, discipline, or direction, it's only a matter of time before you start reflecting the same. You need people in your life who make you think bigger, not shrink smaller. People who challenge you to hold yourself to a higher standard. People who expect more from you because they believe you're capable of it. You don't need constant praise. You need honest feedback. You don't need to be the smartest one in the room. You need to be the one who listens, learns, and levels up. If you're the most focused person in your circle is too small. It's not about surrounding yourself with perfect people. It's about finding those who are serious about growth. The ones who keep striving, even when no one's clapping. People who don't make excuses. People who hold themselves accountable and hold you to the same. People who speak about possibilities, not limitations. If your environment isn't stretching you, it's shrinking you. And you can't afford to spend your life with people who keep you comfortable when you should be reaching higher. Think about the impact of one serious, focused, and disciplined person in your life. Someone who wakes up with intention, speaks with purpose, moves with integrity. That energy is contagious. You feel it when you're around them. You act differently. You think more clearly. You don't slack off as easily. And when you try to fall back into your old patterns, their presence alone is a reminder that you're capable of better. That's the kind of influence you need to keep close. If everyone around you accepts mediocrity, it becomes easier for you to do the same. If the people you spend your time with are always complaining, avoiding responsibility, and blaming others, you start to pick up those habits. It may not be immediate, but it's consistent. And consistency shapes identity. That's why you need to be intentional. Ask yourself whether the people in your life reflect your values or just your history. Some people are meant to be part of your past, not your future. You don't need more friends. You need the right ones. People who are more interested in your potential than your comfort. People who aren't afraid to ask you hard questions. People who live with purpose and aren't afraid to expect the same from you. They don't let you get away with being less than you could be. And you don't feel attacked when they challenge you. You feel respect because someone who truly values you won't let you settle. The right people don't pull you into drama. They don't encourage distractions. They don't waste your time with empty talk. They bring you back to what matters. They sharpen your mind. They help you see what you're not seeing. They hold you to the goals you said were important to you. And when you start drifting, they remind you who you said you wanted to become. That reminder is priceless, especially on the days when your own motivation fades. You are going to have moments where you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. That's normal. That's human. What matters is who you're around in those moments. Do they pull you back into discipline, or do they let you slide into old patterns? The right circle doesn't just support you emotionally, they support you structurally. They remind you of your standards when you forget them yourself. Choose your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. You can have all the right goals, the right plan, the right mindset, but if you're surrounded by people who don't respect those things, they'll fade. You'll start to compromise. You'll start to lower the bar. And little by little, you'll wake up and wonder where your drive went. That's not weakness. That's influence. And it happens when you're not being intentional. Sometimes leveling up means walking away. Walking away from conversations that go nowhere. From friendships that revolve around distraction. From people who are committed to comfort and offended by ambition. Not because you're better than them, but because you're serious about becoming someone different. You don't need to fight. You don't need to argue. Just choose where you invest your time. Your time is a vote for your future. Spend it with people who vote for growth. You should be around people who don't flinch at discipline, who don't laugh at your goals, who don't find it strange that you want more from life. You should be around people who've done hard things, so they understand why you're doing them too. You should be in rooms where effort is normal, and excuses are rare, where it's more common to hear someone talk about strategy than gossip, where people measure success by integrity, not just status. You can feel the difference when you're in the right room. You sit up straighter. You listen more closely. You start to think about your own habits, your own potential. You're not trying to compete. You're trying to improve. That's the power of high standards. They lift you without forcing you. They remind you that being average is a choice, not a requirement. And once you've been around that energy, it's hard to go back to anything less. Evaluate your circle regularly. Ask yourself if the people closest to you are aligned with your mission. Are they pushing you forward? Are they reflecting the kind of discipline and focus you respect? Or are they always pulling you into comfort, distraction, or compromise? Don't let history keep you connected to people who don't believe in your next level. Be brave enough to outgrow your surrounding, and be wise enough to seek out new ones that match the direction you're heading. You rise faster when you stop dragging people who are standing still. And you rise stronger when you learn to walk with those who've already climbed. Keep your circle tight. Keep your standards, keep your energy clean, and keep your future in focus. Number 7. Set clear rules for how you use your time. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Once it's gone forever. You can lose money and make it back. But time is different. That's why how you use your time is one of the most important decisions you will ever make. You have to be very clear about the rules you set around your time. Without clear rules, your time slips away unnoticed. The hours disappear into distractions, bad habits, and things that don't move you forward. Setting rules for your time means you decide what deserves your attention and what doesn't, before the day even starts. Too many people treat time like it's unlimited. They say yes to too many things. They let others decide how they spend their day. They get pulled into meetings, social media, small talk, and endless tasks that have no connection to their bigger goals. If you want a life that actually moves you forward, you have to stop reacting to time. You have to start controlling it. That control starts by creating clear boundaries for how your hours and minutes are spent. The first rule of time is this: not everything deserves your time. You have to become selective. Just like you wouldn't spend money on things you don't value, you shouldn't spend your time on things that don't matter. That means you have to get honest about what your priorities are. What activities bring you closer to your goals? What habits build your character? What conversations add value? What distractions pull you away? When you know what matters most, You can say no without guilt to everything else. You have to create time rules that are simple but strict. For example, set specific hours when you focus on deep work, without interruptions. Turn off notifications that steal your focus. Schedule breaks that recharge you instead of letting fatigue build. Guard your mornings with routines that prepare you mentally and physically for the day. Protect your evenings with habits that help you rest and reflect. These rules might seem small, but over time they create a structure that supports growth. Many people waste time because they don't know when to stop or start. They drift from task to task without a clear plan. Setting rules gives you a rhythm. It tells your brain what to expect and when. When your day has clear boundaries for work, rest, and play, your mind stays sharper. You avoid burnout. You maintain balance. And most importantly, you build momentum because you're consistent. Momentum is what separates people who talk about change from those who live it. You should also have rules about your availability. If you're always available to everyone, you're not available to yourself. Time is like a bank account. Every deposit you make should come with a withdrawal plan. Decide who gets access to your time and when. Set limits on how much time you spend on calls, emails, or social media. Protect your focus by limiting interruptions. You don't need to answer every request immediately. Respect your own schedule enough to say no or delay when necessary. When you set clear rules, you eliminate excuses. You stop blaming lack of time for your stalled progress. Everyone has the same 24 hours. What changes is how you guard those hours. The more rules you put in place that protect your best time, the more you get done. The more energy you have left over, the more control you feel. Time rules create freedom because they prevent chaos. Without them, your day runs you instead of the other way around. One of the most effective rules you can set is a daily review. Spend a few minutes each day looking at what you accomplished and what you need to adjust. This practice keeps you accountable. It makes your time visible. You stop letting hours vanish unnoticed. When you know where your time goes, you make better choices. You start planning with purpose instead of reacting to whatever pops up. Avoid multitasking. Your brain can't do two hard things at once. When you split your attention, nothing gets your full effort. Set rules that encourage single tasking. Finish one thing before starting another. This simple change increases quality and speed. It also reduces stress because your mind isn't pulled in multiple directions. Clear time rules don't just organize your day. They protect your mental space. You also need rules for how you recharge. Growth doesn't happen without rest. If you fill your day with non-stop activity, your energy depletes quickly. Include rules that protect time for sleep, exercise, healthy meals, and moments of calm. These aren't optional extras. They are essential for your long-term stamina. When you treat rest like a priority, you perform better. You think clearer. You make fewer mistakes. Your time becomes more productive because you're not running on empty. Sometimes, setting rules means saying no to good things in order to say yes to great things. It's not about avoiding fun or connection. It's about choosing what adds to your life and what takes away. You can't do everything. You have to be ruthless with your time. If something doesn't align with your goals or values, it should have a limited place in your schedule. Respect your future enough to guard your present time. When distractions come, and they always do, your rules become your shield. Instead of giving in, you remember your boundaries. Instead of drifting into social media or gossip, you redirect your energy. This requires practice and determination. But every time you protect your time, you reinforce the habits that lead to success. You train your mind to prioritize what matters most. You make your goals not just a wish, but a daily reality. Time rules are not meant to make life rigid or joyless. They create space for what's important. They prevent overwhelm. They help you stay focused on what you control. Life is full of surprises, but how you use your time doesn't have to be one of them. You can design your day with intention. You can protect your hours like the precious asset they are. When you do, you take a huge step toward the life you want to live. Make your time rules personal. What works for one person may not work for another. Find the schedule, the boundaries, and the limits that fit your rhythm. Experiment with routines. Notice when your energy peaks. Notice when you lose focus. Adjust your rules accordingly. The goal is not to follow someone else's plan, but to create a framework that empowers your best work and your best life. The power of clear time rules is that they free you from chaos and confusion. They turn time from a threat into your greatest asset. They allow you to build consistency, momentum, and confidence. They create a container where your potential can grow without distraction. The stronger your time rules, the stronger your life. That's why how you manage your hours matters more than how many hours you work. Because time rules aren't just about minutes. They're about mastery. Number 8. Practice the lifestyle you say you want daily. Living the life you want is not a distant event in the future. It is something you must start building today. The lifestyle you desire isn't created by wishes or plans alone. It is formed by the small, consistent actions you take every single day. If you say you want discipline but you skip your commitments regularly, you're not practicing discipline. If you say you want success, but your habits are scattered and inconsistent, you're not practicing success. Your daily routine either reflects your goals or betrays them. When you claim to want a certain lifestyle, it means you're ready to live that lifestyle now in small ways. Your words only carry weight when your actions match. There is no shortcut or magic moment where suddenly your life changes overnight. It is the daily repetition of the right choices that shapes your future. You can't expect to live a life of health without daily care for your body. You can't expect financial freedom without daily attention to your spending and saving. You can't expect meaningful relationships if you don't show up consistently for the people you care about. Every day is a practice session. Every choice is a training opportunity. What you do today is a message to your future self about what you believe you deserve. If you want peace, your actions must create space for calm. If you want energy, your actions must include rest and movement. If you want respect, your behavior must be respectful toward yourself and others. The lifestyle you want depends on the habits you build. Habits are not born out of inspiration alone. They are built through practice and persistence. You must begin with intention. Start by asking yourself, what daily actions reflect the life you say you want? If you say you want to be organized, practice putting things in their place right now instead of piling them up. If you want to be mentally strong, practice facing challenges calmly rather than avoiding them. If you want financial control, practice budgeting and tracking your expenses before the money slips away. Every part of the lifestyle you desire has a daily practice attached to it. It's easy to talk about the life you want and hard to live it each day. But growth requires you to do the hard things regularly. You must choose the uncomfortable habits that build your vision. Waking up early, saying no to distractions, prioritizing your health. These are the daily investments that pay off in a lifetime. If you keep delaying your practice, you're delaying your progress. There is no future without the present being built well. Your consistency matters more than your intensity. Doing something right every day matters more than doing it perfectly once in a while. The life you want is not created by bursts of energy, but by steady, focused effort. It's the small steps repeated over time that lead to transformation. It's the daily discipline that turns dreams into reality. If you want to live a different life, you must start living differently now. You will face days when motivation is low and distractions are high. That's part of the process. Practicing the lifestyle you want means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means holding yourself accountable to your own stand. It means reminding yourself why you started and who you're becoming. If you rely only on motivation, you'll never reach your goals. Practice creates habits, and habits create a lifestyle. Surround your daily life with reminders of your goals. Create routines that support your vision. For example, if you want to be healthier, schedule your meals, workouts, and sleep, just as you would important meetings. If you want to be more productive, start your day with the hardest tasks first. If you want stronger relationships, schedule time to connect with the people who matter. These daily practices build momentum and structure your life in alignment with your desires. Be honest with yourself about what your current habits say about the life you want. If your daily actions contradict your goals, you're sending mixed messages to yourself. That conflict creates frustration and confusion. Your subconscious picks up on the disconnect, and your progress stalls. You cannot claim one thing and live another without paying a cost. The only way to bridge the gap is to practice what you preach every day. You also have to be patient with yourself during this process. Change doesn't happen all at once. It's a journey of consistent effort and small victories. Celebrate the wins when you stick to your routine. Learn from the days you fall short. Adjust your plan, but keep practicing. The lifestyle you want is within reach if you commit to showing up every day with intention. If you practice rest, you will feel more energy. If you practice gratitude, you will feel more contentment. If you practice discipline, you will gain more control. If you practice kindness, you will build deeper connections. The lifestyle you desire is the sum of these daily actions. There is no gap between who you want to be and what you do today. What you practice today becomes who you are tomorrow. You are designing your future with every decision you make. When your daily actions reflect your highest values, you live authentically. You build self-respect and confidence because you prove to yourself you can be trusted. That trust fuels more growth and deeper fulfillment. The life you say you want is not a distant dream. It's a reality built one day at a time. Your lifestyle is your message to the world about what you value. Don't let your daily choices say one thing while your heart says another. Live the life you say you want through daily practice. Build your habits with care. Show up for yourself with discipline. The future you imagine is waiting on the foundation you build today. Number 9. Eliminate distractions that take you off your path. Distractions are the silent thieves of progress. They come quietly, but take away precious time, focus, and energy. When distractions pile up, your goals start to feel farther away, even though you work hard. The truth is, distractions don't just slow you down. They pull you off course. If you want to design your life to truly live it, you have to recognize distractions and remove them completely. Your ability to stay focused determines your success. And your success depends on what you refuse to allow in your daily life. First, distractions are not just external. They often come from inside your own mind. Wandering thoughts, doubts, worries, and excuses pull your attention away from what matters. You may sit at your desk ready to work, but your mind drifts to social media, messages, or random thoughts. This mental noise wastes more time than you realize and wears down your willpower. Clearing your mental space is as important as clearing your physical space. The quieter your mind, the sharper your focus. External distractions are everywhere. Notifications, noisy environments, unplanned interruptions, and multitasking all break your concentration. Every beep, ping, or pop-up steals your attention for a moment that turns into minutes. Those small moments add up. Before you know it, hours of your day are lost to things that don't bring you closer to your goals. Distractions also drain your energy, leaving you exhausted and frustrated at the end of the day. To live the life you want, you must protect your attention like a valuable asset. The first step to eliminate distractions is awareness. You have to identify exactly what pulls you away. Look closely at your habits. What apps do you open without thinking? What conversations derail your focus? Which activities drain your energy instead of building it? Awareness gives you power. You cannot fix what you don't see. When you know your biggest distractions, you can begin to control them. Next, create an environment that supports focus. Your surroundings shape your behavior more than you realize. A cluttered workspace invites distraction. Noise and interruptions pull you out of flow. You must design your environment to encourage concentration. That means decluttering your space, using headphones to block noise if needed, and setting boundaries with others during work hours. A space built for focus reduces the temptation to stray. Turn off notifications on your devices. Don't keep your phone within arm's reach unless it's necessary. Schedule specific times to check messages and social media instead of reacting whenever a notification appears. These small changes give you back control over your attention. The goal is not to eliminate technology, but to manage it wisely. Technology is a tool, not a master. Let your habits reflect that. Set clear time blocks for focused work, and protect those blocks fiercely. When you decide you are working for a set period, without interruption, it trains your mind to settle into deep work. During these times, silence your phone, close unnecessary tabs, and inform others not to disturb you. Consistent blocks of focused work build momentum and increase productivity dramatically. This intentional practice is the antidote to distraction. Learn to say no to unplanned tasks and interruptions. Not every request deserves your immediate attention. Practice politely declining or postponing non-urgent matters. Protect your priorities by setting clear expectations with family, friends, and colleagues. When you guard your time and focus, you show respect for your goals. This also builds respect from others, because they see you take your commitments seriously. Multitasking is a major distraction disguised as productivity. The brain cannot perform multiple difficult tasks at once without losing quality and efficiency. Focus on one task fully before moving to the next. This approach reduces errors and saves time in the long run. Single tasking allows you to give your best to each action and builds confidence in your abilities. Distractions also come in the form of emotional triggers: fear, doubt, and procrastination. These feelings pull you away from action and towards comfort. You might find yourself scrolling your phone or watching TV when you should be working, because deep down you're avoiding discomfort. Recognize these emotional distractions and face them head on. Build mental strength by leaning into the discomfort instead of running from it. Create daily rituals that reinforce focus and limit distractions. Start your day with a clear plan. Prioritize your tasks. Review your goals and remind yourself why focus matters. End your day by reflecting on what distracted you and how to improve tomorrow. These rituals build self-awareness and improve your ability to manage distractions over time. Remember, distractions are not just obstacles. They are choices you make moment by moment. Every time you reach for your phone instead of your work, you're choosing distraction. Every time you agree to unnecessary interruptions, you're choosing distraction. Taking control means making different choices consistently. It means valuing your goals more than the temporary relief distractions provide. Eliminating distractions also improves the quality of your work and life. When you give your full attention to one thing, you perform better. You complete tasks faster and with greater satisfaction. You free up mental energy to think creatively and solve problems. Focus creates flow, and flow creates fulfillment. This is how you move closer to living the life you truly want. Your path becomes clearer when distractions are removed. You begin to see what matters most and can invest your time and energy wisely. The noise fades and your purpose becomes loud and clear. This clarity is a powerful motivator to keep going, even when obstacles arise. Practice discipline in your focus daily. It's a muscle that grows stronger with use. Every time you resist distraction, you build control. Every time you return your attention to what matters, you deepen your commitment to your goals. Over time, distraction loses its power. Focus becomes your default mode. Your ability to live intentionally depends on your ability to say no to what pulls you off your path. Protect your focus like it's your most valuable resource, because it is. Make distraction elimination a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. This discipline is the foundation of a life designed with purpose and lived with meaning. Number 10. Live each day like consequences always. Follow your actions. Every decision you make carries weight, because consequences follow every action. You may not see the results immediately, but the choices you make today shape your tomorrow. This is not a theory, it is a fact. When you understand that consequences are always present, you begin to take responsibility for how you live your days. Nothing happens in isolation. Every action, no matter how small, sets off a chain reaction that impacts your future. Living with the awareness that consequences are real means you stop living carelessly. You stop ignoring the long-term effects of your behavior. You stop blaming circumstances or luck and start owning your outcomes. The power of this mindset is that it forces you to act deliberately. You think twice before you speak, before you spend, before you waste time. You understand that each moment is an investment in your life, and investments demand careful attention. This doesn't mean living in fear of making mistakes. It means living with respect for the impact your actions have on yourself and others. You begin to value your time, energy, and reputation because you know they are all connected. One careless decision can undo days or months of progress. One wise decision can open doors you didn't even know existed. The key is to see your life as a series of cause and effect. Your choices are the causes, your results are the effects. When you act as if consequences always follow, you build integrity. You become someone who keeps promises to yourself and others. You honor your commitments because you know breaking them has real effects. Your word becomes your bond, and that strengthens your confidence and relationships. People notice when you take your actions seriously. They trust you more. You also build self-respect because you prove to yourself that you can be counted on. This mindset helps you avoid shortcuts and quick fixes that sabotage your future. Instant gratification feels tempting, but it often comes with a hidden cost. When you live aware of consequences, you resist the urge to give up long-term gains for short-term pleasure. You understand that discipline today leads to freedom tomorrow. You make choices that align with your values and goals, not just with momentary desires. Living like consequences follow every action means being mindful about your habits. Small repeated actions form your character and your future. If you waste time regularly, your productivity and progress suffer. If you neglect your health, your energy and longevity decline. If you avoid responsibility, your opportunities shrink. The consequences of daily habits are real and inevitable. When you pay attention to this, you build routines that support your vision. This approach also changes how you handle challenges and failure. Instead of denying mistakes or blaming others, you face consequences head-on. You learn from them and adjust your course. You don't let failure define you because you know it is part of the process. But you also don't ignore it or repeat the same mistakes. Living with consequences means you accept responsibility and grow stronger from experience. Your relationships improve when you act with consequence in mind. You become more thoughtful in your words and actions toward others. You listen better. You communicate with clarity. You don't make promises you can't keep. You understand that how you treat people today affects your support network tomorrow. The quality of your relationships is directly tied to the respect you show through your consistent behavior. Financially, this mindset keeps you disciplined. Every purchase, every investment, every saving decision has consequences. You start budgeting with care because you know overspending today can cause stress and limitation tomorrow. You plan your finances with foresight, not impulse. This way you build security and opportunities instead of debt and regret. Living as if consequences follow your actions also sharpens your focus and motivation. You realize time is precious and cannot be wasted. Every hour you spend has a cost and a benefit. This awareness pushes you to prioritize what truly matters. It encourages you to pursue meaningful goals with dedication. You don't get distracted by trivial things. because you know they lead nowhere. This mindset trains you to think ahead. You start considering how today's decisions affect next week, next month, next year. You create plans that account for the future impact of your choices. This long-term thinking is a powerful tool for success. It helps you avoid reckless behavior and embrace steady progress. It's important to live with consequences, not to be harsh on yourself, but to be honest and fair. Honesty about your actions builds clarity. Fairness to yourself creates accountability. You learn to balance grace with responsibility. You give yourself room to grow, but hold yourself to standards that prevent repeated mistakes. This balance fosters maturity and wisdom. You become proactive rather than reactive. Instead of waiting for consequences to surprise or punish you, you anticipate them. You make decisions based on potential outcomes instead of temporary emotions. This leads to better choices and more control over your life's direction. Ultimately, living like consequences always follow your actions means you become the leader of your life. You refuse to be a victim of circumstances. You step into ownership of your journey. You understand that your future is built by what you do today. This mindset empowers you to live with intention, focus, and courage. Every day, your actions add up. Some will bring you closer to your dreams. Others will pull you away. By living aware of consequences, you choose which path to follow. You design a life that fits the reality you want, not just the hopes you have. The power is in your hands because every action counts.